Wizards Postgame Live.
Washington back on the road, this time in Chicago on a Wednesday night. A couple of former Lakers showing each other some respect and appreciation. Kyle Kuzma and crew fall to the Chicago Bulls. Final score 115-111. All 5 Wizards scorers in double figures. Daniel Gafford gives you 10 off the bench. As far as your leading scorer tonight, Kristaps Porzingis with 28 points for the Wizards. Followed by Kyle Kuzma with 21. Wes Hall here with the coach, Jimmy Patsos. Coach, when you're looking at Porzingis, this is now his 6th straight 20-plus point game. Kyle Kuzma is giving you 20-plus in 8 out of the last 9, including tonight's stats. Before we bring in Chris and Christy, and of course Megan McPhee, Coach, I want your thoughts on what happened tonight and why it didn't go Washington's way.
I mean, it's a great effort by the Wizards. You have 5 guys in double figures. You're an offensive rebound away. I mean, they got the miss. They played everything right. The ball just got tipped out and they didn't get it. You know, the basketball gods, sometimes the ball bounces the wrong way. But the Wizards, very impressive. You have 5 guys in double figures. I like Taj Gibbs, an old veteran. The Gafford-Porzingis experiment is working. Remember, this is a work in progress. You only lost by 2. You got to go Friday night and put the same type of effort and the same type of game plan and beat the Pacers, who are a little younger. The Bulls have a lot of veterans out there, okay? They have had some injury problems where they were healthy tonight. Bradley Beal hit the game winner last time they played. Yeah. He wasn't here tonight. DeLon Wright has been giving great minutes the first 5 or 6 games for the Wizards. He's been hurt, and Rui's instant offense off the bench. So you got to look at all the good things, when we can get healthy and add some pieces. But one of those pieces is an all-star. I think it was an outstanding effort. You just didn't get the result you want. You didn't win, but so many things went right. Let's take that on and win Friday. Yeah, maybe we're a little angry that we lost and we just take it out on the Pacers. But you're 1 or 2 plays away, and the game plan was, I thought, executed very well.
Coach, when I look at the box score, I see 41 for 84 shots tonight. That's 49%. 3-point shooting at 29%. That's 9 for 31 and 20 for 29 from the charity.
That one hurt a little.
That's where I was about to get to right there. How important is it to be able to knock down the free ones?
They did great because the Wizards didn't foul. See, the Wizards kept the Bulls off the line. Anytime you keep the home team off the line, you've really done well because, you know, the nature is that the home team's going to shoot more. A couple of those could have gone. They made the critical ones, but once again, it's a rebound here, it's a play there. You're so close to finishing. It was like the Miami Heat game you and I had. You're so close to finishing without your best finisher, which is Bradley Beal. He's an all-star for a reason. What Kuzma's doing off the ball and on the ball. I'm watching Kuz. He's really playing hard. Yeah. And Porzingis is turning into a bona fide star. You just need a little help. And I hope everyone understands how much DeLon Wright has missed. He's a tall, Jordan Goodwin, we love him. This is a lot to ask. DeLon Wright's a real pro, 6'5" defensive guard. You talk about some things that have gone wrong down the stretch. He helps you finish and win. And he's close to coming back, right, Wes?
Yes, he is. He is. So, and definitely we'll have an update on everybody's injury report, including DeLon Wright, Bradley Beal, and Rudy Hachimura at NBCSportsWashington.com. Right now, Coach, I want to bring in Chris and Christy for a good call that they had down at United Center. Guys, straight to the point on this one tonight, not going in the Wizards' favor. Down in those close minutes of the fourth quarter, there was an opportunity to possibly snatch this from back in our hands, Christy. Why didn't it go Washington's way?
Well, I think, Coach Patsos, you said it, Jimmy. I think it was that offensive rebound, and I know there were things all throughout the game, but when it comes down to it, you just have to have those opportunities right there, and the ball just didn't bounce the Wizards' way. But I agree also. The game plan was followed. I thought the execution was fantastic. They kept Chicago off the free throw line, but I like the offensive flow that Washington had. They had some momentum swings. They got the consecutive stops that they needed. Denny Advia was flying around and getting deflections. I love the energy and the effort and the focus tonight. They just didn't get the win, but I love the effort tonight.
I love the competitiveness.
Yes.
And there was a clear focus from the morning shoot-around about what Washington wanted to get done offensively, which was paint points. And clearly tonight they got 60 of them. The problem is like that one offensive rebound. And when you look at the stat sheet, Washington had 6 offensive rebounds. Chicago had 6 offensive rebounds, but it's when they got that offensive rebound. But the one thing that I'm going to harp on, guys, and it's something that's very important in basketball. I don't care if it's young kids playing up to the NBA. You cannot leave 9 points on the charity stripe. We've talked about this before with Washington. They lose a 4-point ball game, but they left 9 points on the free throw line. You just think, you make half of those, you win by 1.
Right.
You know, those are the things that are correctables. But love the energy and the fight tonight. This team was competitive in a real hostile environment, and you give their big three credit over there. They combined for 77.
You talk about the free throws, Coach Patsos. I'm looking at Kristaps Porzingis tonight. He went and put up 16 of them, made 12 of them. Chris mentioned rebounds. He was one rebound away from another triple-double tonight. How do you grade his performance?
Oh, I give Porzingis an A. I've been giving Porzingis an A all year. First of all, he's playing in every game, which was a concern going into the. And I love that he's welcomed the Gafford experiment, and that takes a little pressure off him. You know, he's a good shooter. Sometimes you're tired, you just don't make a free throw here or there. Once again on the road, but Porzingis has been great. I think teams are really guarding him. Now, if Kispert can get a little more confidence and make some jump shots, Taj Gibson showed me something tonight. Guy came in and made a three. Okay, Denny's moving without the ball. You just need somebody to get a little bit hot until Beal comes back. I mean, you lost a great player in Bradley Beal, and they've done everything right. The problem is you have to do everything right when you don't have your all-star player there. But like I said, DeLon Wright, and I'm a big Rui guy. Yeah. Rui's great guy averages like 18 points off the game, instant bucket, great mid-ranger. So while those guys get healthy, but you got to find a way to win a game. And I thought Will Barton hit a big three to end the half, and a big three to end the third quarter. And you know, there's our guy from Baltimore. It's just, as you know, you two were there, Chris and Christy. Like, I felt here in the studio we were going to win the game. You thought we were going to pull this out right there, correct?
Absolutely. The momentum was in Washington's favor. Some big threes were going down. Corner Kuz knocked one in. Monte Morris hit one. And then, like you said, Will Barton knocked in a pivotal three. And it was much needed and much necessary for Washington. But when it came time to close it, it was on the defensive end that they didn't get what they needed in terms of those possessions or those defensive rebounds. And that's what happened down the stretch.
You know, Jimmy was talking about Taj Gibson, and we kind of joked, but if you don't have a guy like Taj Gibson where you can plug and play, and don't look at the stat, it's another one of these games where I tell fans, don't look at the stat sheet, just look at what he was doing on the defensive end when Vucevic was trying to bully.
That's right.
Or they were trying to get maybe DeRozan on a bully ball play. Taj Gibson was the guy that was right there. Andre Drummond, he was in there taking the physicality. So they're right there.
Yeah.
That's the part where, you know, we'll think about it on the plane and go to Indiana where you're just right there. You think of the offensive rebound, the one they should have had, the 9 points they left on the charity stripe. But they competed. Again, there were 10 players available. All 10 played tonight for Wes Unseld Jr.
And they played hard.
Yeah.
Chrissy, before I let you guys go, I want to take a moment to just look at Daniel Gafford's performance over these last three games. Obviously, tonight, 10 points, 3 boards. But over the last 3 games, 13 points, 7 boards, and 3 blocks is what he's averaging now that he's gotten some more time on the court. What kind of grade are you guys giving him tonight?
I'm giving him an A. I mean, I know down the stretch he got in some foul trouble, but outside of that, I thought Daniel Gafford was magnificent in terms of his focus and being a star in his role. He knows when he comes in what he needs to do for the team, and he offers that night in and night out. And you see him continuing to build on that momentum, on that effectiveness, and his efficiency on the offensive end is what I love. But that block tonight was a statement maker. He is really getting a lot better every single game, and you love to see that in players. And when I say a lot better, it's not statistically speaking. You can see the confidence growing in him every single game. Same with Denny Avdia. You see the same kind of momentum for those two in the same way, and it's trending upward, and you love to see that in players.
I think it's all about carryover, guys. How do you carry this momentum, albeit in a loss, to Indiana, where that's a young ball club over there where they're trying to figure out who they are too. But for Gafford, we talked about in the pregame show and throughout the game, I really like the Gafford-Porzingis combination and Taj Gibson. You know, there are going to be nights where guys are going to just try to out-physical you. And now I think Wes Unseld Jr. realizes here at the quarter pole, you know, we can get into a street fight also.
That's right.
Yeah,
they want to get in that mud.
Indeed. Adjustments required. Adjustments are made. We appreciate that. Chris and Chrissy, thanks for the call tonight. We'll see you Friday in Indianapolis against the Pacers. Much appreciated.
Can't wait.
Let's
Can't
get it
wait.
on.
Getting the win Friday night. Getting a win Friday night.
Coach Patsos, Chris brought up something that I actually want to talk about, which is KP and Gafford. Tonight combining for 38 points, 12 rebounds, and 4 blocks. How are you feeling now that, because we talked about this on pre, that we enjoyed seeing the two of them getting together? They had 22 minutes before this.
You know, that's what I'm saying. In other words, these 82 games, I've coached high school, I've coached college, I've been around the pros a lot, but you have to, these are 82 games. Did we make progress tonight? Absolutely. And if I'm the coach, I'm writing on the board, the KP Gafford experiment, everybody in here is working. Keep giving that to, that's a real plus. Like, that's going to help us in January and February. I know we got a game Friday. We can't physically practice tomorrow, but we got to walk through. Maybe Kuzma coming off the ball screen with Gafford. Those are two big guys. You can't guard them. You know, KP's probably more of a, he's probably going to flare for a 3. Right. But these are things Wes Unseld and his staff are doing well because there's not a lot of practice time. Right. You know, in college, you play back-to-backs once or twice a year, and that's in a special tournament. You, in the NCAA tournament, you have a day to get ready, but they're doing this constantly with a high physical task. They're pulling on, you know, their jerseys. They're playing so hard. Yeah. But mentally, if we can keep working on this, and it's working, and you have to say, that's working. Yeah. You know, Monte Morris, we're going to get you some help defensively. You need a little help. He's right over there, DeLon Wright. Rui's coming. But the real deal, Beal, our guy, who we love, and, you know, he's the best player on the team, when he comes back, if we have these other sections just a little better improved, then we go and we win, like we did when Beal hit the game winner, and then we're right back in this thing. We're only a couple games out of 4th place.
Indeed, we're going to have to get in there and fight for it again. Friday is night 1 of a back-to-back. Pacers on Friday, Clippers in town in D.C. on Saturday. Coach, you mentioned Coach Wes Unseld Jr. Here he is right now at the post-game podium.
Oh, yeah, it is frustrating. I mean, you give yourself a chance to, you know, to win a game on the road, and you know that those weren't the only two, you know, situations. You know, we had some turnovers late, didn't get shots to the rim, but those offensive rebounds that you spoke of they're kind of like backbreaking. You got an opportunity to get a stop with time. You still have your timeouts. You know, going the other way, but got to finish possessions.
You guys had done a pretty good job on Levine and DeRozan most of the night, but then they kind of catch fire there in that 4th. Is that just two great players doing their thing, or do they kind of do something to try to free them up a little bit more?
No, I think, you know, two good players, and you knew at halftime they, you know, were probably underperforming. We knew both those two as well as Vooch were going to, you know, step up and try to be more aggressive. And all 3 of them were. They impacted that second half. You know, you still have an opportunity. You know, it's as well as they played. We made some shots in that 4th quarter, and just couldn't get enough stops late, and obviously securing defensive rebounds. But the turnovers I thought were an issue all night. You know, those are valuable possessions. You know, when you're shorthanded, you got to make sure we get something. You know, you got to get a shot off. So. Taking care of the ball, obviously missed, you know, another handful of free throws. It's been a theme. You know, threes are threes. You know, I think eventually we'll see it go in, but we got to take care of the free throws.
We talked pregame about, you know, everybody having to contribute when you're shorthanded. How do you evaluate that tonight?
Well, there's a lot of, you know, mistakes, coverage mistakes, you know, but I can't fault the effort. I thought our guys played hard. We tried to compete. You know, it's tough. You know, guys are playing, you know, different roles at times, different positions, you know, playing combinations that we haven't seen much yet this year. But to their credit, they were able to, you know, figure it out. We were able to stay in the game. It just, you come up short.
What did you see from Denny tonight in terms of kind of a bounce back performance?
I thought he bounced back well. He was very aggressive, you know, more downhill, made some plays in pick and rolls. I thought he defended, you know, relatively well. Was able to do so without fouling. He played with a different level of confidence, which was good to see.
Do you have any?
Head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium as we welcome back in our sideline reporter, Megan McPeak. Megan, I've asked this question of Coach, Chris, and Chrissy. The same goes to you. What were your thoughts on tonight? What went wrong for Washington, and how, more importantly, how do they correct it for Indiana, same city, same state, on Friday?
I think what you heard from Coach is exactly right. Turnovers in timely situations can cost you, and it's not just necessarily the ones down the stretch because of recency bias. Those are the ones that are on top of mind, but in different points of the game there was times where they turned the ball over, live ball turnovers, didn't get the shot that they wanted or didn't get a shot at all, as Coach Unseld said. And to me, in pregame, excuse me, he actually said, because I asked him that with regards to both of these teams being top 3 in the league when it comes to points off turnovers and limiting teams' points off turnovers. And I asked him about, what's going to give tonight? How do you still combat that when you only have 10 guys available? And he said the live ball turnovers are the most costly when you have an undermanned basketball team. And that was the situation tonight where we had a lot of live ball turnovers, unfortunately. And the Bulls were able to take advantage of that, not necessarily in transition and getting a lay-in, but necessarily, getting down. If they don't have the lay-in, they pull it back out, they run their set, they get a good shot, it falls. So those live ball turnovers that he was speaking of definitely were costly at certain points and different junctures throughout this game.
Indeed, Coach mentioned it wasn't for lack of trying. He enjoyed their effort tonight, concerted effort. A couple of things that they could fix, including free throws. Megan, we appreciate that as much as possible. On the other side, Kyle Kuzma tonight, after his performance, giving us his 6th straight 20-plus point performance. Tonight gave you 21 points, 5 boards, and 2 steals. We're talking Kuz on the other side of PostGame Live. One thing you have to love about NBA action is that you sit real close, you become a part of the action as you see the cameraman taking a bit of a spill out. DeMar DeRozan and everyone, for that matter, came over to collect him off the ground. I tell you, man, courtside seats, if you want the ultimate fan experience, go to an NBA game. You have to love it. Guaranteed to appreciate it.
You better pay attention, though.
That's right, Coach. Stay ready. Stay ready. Well, let's talk about Kyle Kuzma a little bit more. I teased him on the other side of the break, guys. 6 straight 20-plus point games from Megan. And when you see what he does in the absence of Bradley Beal, obviously he knows that the load is going to be a little bit heavier on his shoulders. But I'm going to challenge him, and I'm going to ask you to do it. What more can Kyle Kuzma bring to the table, especially over these next couple of games without Brad?
I think at this point, especially when you look at the last couple of games, his efficiency, which seems easy but also is not easy if you actually know the game of basketball, because you can't control the ball actually falling in the hoop. That's something that is completely out of your control. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, he puts shots up. He gets to the rim. He gets good looks. His shot selection is usually pretty good. And he can rebound the ball and also facilitate. So on the offensive end, you can't really ask him to do much more rather than essentially go perfect from the entire floor, which no one is going to do on a consistent basis. On the defensive end, that could be the only thing that I could see, an uptick, is just his defensive tenacity, getting into guys sooner, wanting to, guard the best player, wanting to guard the Zach LaVines, the DeMar DeRozans of the opponent, and, just taking that on himself, knowing that without Bradley Beal in the lineup, the leadership now falls on the shoulders of himself and as well Kristaps Porzingis. But I'm not really sure what else offensively he can do other than what he's been doing. The shots are going to fall. It's just he has no control of that if you're not literally putting the ball in the rim yourself at point-blank range.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about one of his favorite people in the world, his teammate / Michigan brother, Monte Morris tonight, 17 points,
Yeah, both
8
from
assists.
Flint. Monte was good. They're both from Flint. And then, of course, DeLon Wright played with him in college. I wanted to go real quick, Megan, on this. See, for those of you who don't know, live ball turnovers are turnovers where the defense can't get set up. The ball's live. They either score and lay it in. I think you were right on that. And, if Kuzma himself can lead the charge to say, hey, we can't turn the ball over, if he can take a little more leadership role, because it seems like he's next in line without Beal. That's the one thing I want. Megan, do you see that as you're working up close? Can he take a leadership role on the court?
Yeah, and I think he tries to in his own way. Not everybody is going to be that, outspoken, boisterous type of voice that you may look at and be able to pick out of a lineup and say, okay, yeah, he's the leader on the floor. He does it in his own way, and I typically see it when it's in timeouts. He's very vocal with the guys on the bench. He talks with the coaches, so he leads in his own version of leadership, and you have to allow a guy to do it in their own way. You cannot force players to lead in the way that you may want them to, or fans may want them to, or a coach may want them to. They have to lead their own way to where they have a comfort level so that they can also lead by example, and that's the biggest thing.
Well, guys, when I look at what they're able to do, especially when you see a guy like Monte, who's not known really for turning the ball over, he had a couple of turnovers tonight. What I'm concerned about is making sure that we still have offensive control, whether it's a first or second unit, excuse me, Coach. How do we make sure that we protect the basketball in that regard? Because sometimes if you have Monte in, he gets caught in a mismatch depending on who the bigger guy is on the other team in the fourth.
Yeah, it's a great question, Wes. And once again, there's not a lot of practice time. You practice with Bradley Beal. You know, you practice with him in there, running everything through him, you know, so then everybody knows their role. That's why I think the Gafford-Porzingis thing, I'm really happy for that experiment. It's ahead of the game. Monte Morris was not brought here to play this many minutes. You know, Jordan Goodwin's trying. He's a really tough kid. He rebounds, does a little of everything. But Monte Morris, established pro. But him and DeLon Wright were a package, and that was a very successful package, and it will be in the future. He lost a guy for 5 weeks that, you know, he's rangy and long and can play defense. He's a perfect complement to Monte Morris. Tommy Shepard and Wes Unseld Jr. knew that that was what they were going to do. This was a by-committee point guard, and it was working. So I feel bad. Monte's out there trying his best. He doesn't have a lot of help, and Jordan Goodwin is a work in progress, and I think this thing's going to come. Megan, what are you seeing in the G League down there? You're much more in tune with this. I know not like you were, but you're a G League expert. Who's playing well down there? What's going on down there? Is there anybody else that can come up and help?
Well, right now they're actually, unfortunately, dealing with a COVID situation, so they're low on bodies as well too. When you think of that situation, but
Yep.
to the point of Monte Morris, this is the thing when it comes to turnovers and point guards. Is it, you know, sexy when you look at the stats and Monte only has 1 or 2 turnovers and he's got like 8+ assists? Yes, of course it's sexy on paper. But here's the thing. Sometimes turnovers are not a bad thing when you're a point guard. Sometimes having high turnovers, and when I say high, I mean like 3, 4, 5-ish, because it means you're being aggressive. You're trying to make the right play. Live ball turnovers, to Coach's point, are not the ones you want to see. But when you're trying to make the right play, trying to get it inside to your big, who's got a great post position, and it gets deflected and taken the other way, that is not necessarily a bad turnover because you're trying to make the right play. And I think in some situations, Monte tries to make the right play, and that's where he gets caught turning the ball over. So when he has a night where he's got a couple of turnovers, I'm not really mad about it. It's when he has those nights where the live ball turnovers are an issue, that's when you have a little bit of concern. But trying to make the right play is never going to be a problem with me. No,
and again, it's well intended, so that's why we're not mad at it. Coming into the night, ranking second in assist to turnover ratio at 5.89 is Monte Morris. Megan McPeak, we appreciate you as always. We'll see you Friday against the Pacers in Naptown. As for right now, Wizards fans, I got something I think you'll all want. Oh, this is going to be beautiful right here. Yes, Sunday for the Clippers game. First 10,000 fans that arrive at Capital One Arena get this signature hat, courtesy of one Mr. Kyle Kuzma. Yeah, first of all, got Kuz's autograph right here on the backside of it right there. Little front brim action. I might have to keep this one for myself. We'll see what happens on the other break. Coach, you can't have it.
I got the bucket hat, though.
Oh, I love it. We'll keep you this. We're going to keep breaking this game down for you and get you ready for the Pacers on Friday. But like I said, on Sunday, you got to make your way to Cap One Arena so you can get the cap that's on the table. Wizards PostGame Live back in a moment. Welcome back to Post Game Live as we take a look at our bold predictions from tonight, brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. When you go to gblawyers.com and feel better, I said Jordan Goodwin's going to get his first career double-double tonight. Actually, technically, I didn't say it. Billy McBride did. Close, but no cigar, my friend. We appreciate that. Again, bold predictions brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. Go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Earlier tonight, we talked about Jordan Goodwin before the game because we had high aspirations, but it's okay. We'll see him Friday against the Pacers. But as far as his story in this league, you have to hear from himself. A little sit down with the one and only Chris Miller, part of our Off the Bench podcast.
Let's talk about your time with the Go-Go and how it kind of led you to this point where now you're on this NBA roster. How much time do you really kind of embrace where you came from, you know, playing in the G League and getting that opportunity?
I think about it every day before the games, just not trying to go back down. I mean, the G League's a grind. A lot of people don't understand, like, you traveling is terrible. Back-to-back games is hard, and everybody's trying to get out. So just definitely grateful for the opportunity, especially with Mike and Amber, having those people in my corner, just the development down there and how serious they take it, and with the DC G League team is special.
Your relationship with Brad is obvious, right? Both guys being from St. Louis, but I don't think people kind of know like the backstory of when you guys actually first met.
Yeah, it was back in the day. I played with the AAU team around the 7th grade, and I first met Brad. And ever since then, it's been just a connection, like a big brother, little brother type of thing. And he's just an awesome role model. Everything he do, not even just on the court, like off the court, giving back to the community and things like that. So I've seen all that. So
there's a photo of you, I think it was with your mom and Brad.
Yeah.
Kind of describe what that photo, what it looks like, but what it meant to you.
It was a picture. It's Brad, and that was my mom, Brad, then it's me. But I'm over there in the picture with a little mean mug face because I didn't want to take the picture at first because like this is my first time meeting Brad. And everybody was talking about how good he is, And Brad will tell you, 7th grade, 8th grade, nobody could tell me nothing. I'm the best player in the world. So I told my coach, I don't want to take a picture with him. I'm going to be right there with him in a couple years. So it's crazy. You see the picture, I'm still mean mugging, trying to act all tough and stuff like that. But it's a good picture. Good memory, too.
I feel like, and I could be wrong, I really feel like you specifically kind of changed the calculus of this season by just the way you went out and competed against Ja Morant. Now, they did win the game, though, but do you feel like that was kind of like a turning point for you guys?
I kind of feel like my energy just rubbed off on the other guys. Just go out there playing hard. I think it's kind of contagious. Just seeing one person out there playing hard, then you probably go make the next person play a little harder, and it just trickled down the whole line. So I think it kind of played a part of it.
What was it like going up against a guy that everybody kind of considers as one of the rising stars in NBA, and you're right there toe-to-toe with him, and made him visibly uncomfortable being out there on the floor?
I mean, like, I tell my dad this all the time, like, when I go up against different players now, it's like, I guard Bradley Beal the whole training camp. Like, I guard the superstar, and he gave me work. I got stops, but it's like, if I can go out there and guard Brad, at least try to stop Brad, I can guard anybody. So the moves he do, like, it's Bradley Beal, like, we see it. So I'm saying, so I just got that mindset. If I can go in front of Brad every day in training camp, I can go against Ja Morant's, you know what I'm saying, the top guards in the league.
Jordan Goodwin's conversation with Chris Miller, part of the Off the Bench podcast. You can listen and download it wherever you get your podcast. Coach, I got a question about Jordan Goodwin. So we know that I told you before, 3-0 when he scores 10 or more points. Tonight, 4 points. But in the absence of Bradley Beal, does Jordan Goodwin have to get near that 10-point margin in order for the Wizards to be successful?
No, so I was just giving him good minutes. This is a work in progress. Like I said, you don't have DeLon Wright. All of a sudden, he's got thrust into this. I asked Megan about the G League because that's where guys come from, and you want to know how they're doing. Well, he's left the G League. He passed his final exam down there. He's now an NBA player. In the summer, nobody was sure, but everybody in the NBA Summer League was talking about him. And that picture of him and Bradley Beal, I'm fortunate enough, I vote on the McDonald's All-American Committee. I go to all 3 shoe circuits. You got to see the job Bradley Beal does. He's like a general manager and a coach. By the way, he yells sometimes for the record. He's very good. He's had, Love, who's at Carolina, who's a fantastic player. But Jordan Goodwin learned a lot from Beal about the process when he was a young guy. And Bradley Beal does he really is. He's a GM and coach. His women's
he works
team,
it all.
His women's team does really well, too. But Jordan Goodwin, he's kind of passed that first test, the second test. We just want him to take the next step. Well, we know the air gets a little thinner when you go up Mount Everest. It's going to take a little while. He's not going to get 10 all the time, but he's doing really good, and he's really going to become an asset because he's tough. He can play tough defense on guys, Yeah. They're just figuring some things out right now. The Wizards, and you're so close to winning, maybe Wes Unseld Jr. said, I want to stick with Monte because we need this win. You want to get wins,
Wins is what it's all about.
I feel bad. I feel bad. Wes Unseld Jr. and his staff are working so hard. They've had some serious injuries, your best players out, but yet they're right there. So he rolled the dice and said, I'm going with Monte tonight. But Jordan Goodwin's doing excellent.
No, I appreciate that breakdown, Coach. I want to take a look at FanDuel, because coming into the game, there were a couple of different things you could have put on. You're like, ooh, this would have looked really, really nice. But here at FanDuel, we'll make every moment more. Taking a look at our game recap. Coming into tonight, Kristaps Porzingis to score 25 or more points, a $10 bet, won you $9.09. Monte Morris to make 2 or more threes, a $10 bet, would have won you $12.50. But that first one right there, Kristaps Porzingis making 25 or more points. As I told you before this night, Coach, he has scored 20 or more points in 8 of the last 9 games that he's played. I think it's safe to say the unicorn is a walking 20, almost a walking double-double.
Look, he's probably the talk of the league. A lot of people didn't, once again. You and I was here the night he got traded with Wes, and Wes was like, if he plays, he'll be really good. And then we looked up, he's only played in 60% of his games. Once again, here's another guy who's passed that test. He's become reliable and durable, and he's definitely accountable.
Yes.
You know, so he plays really, he's doing everything you want. Now, the scoring has even surprised me. I was at practice, some Miller's there every day. I come and go, Wes, you're there every day. But Porzingis' consistent scoring, him and Kuz. I was a guy that didn't think all three had to have 20 for us to win. Maybe they can have all three can have 20 because they're scoring at such a high clip. That's Kuzma, that's Beal, and of course KB. But Porzingis' consistency in scoring, I go around the country. I was just in Boston, I was in New York. People are buzzing about Porzingis' really his scoring. He's taken the league a little bit by storm.
Yes, in a great way.
To say like, wow, is he playing good? Or man, he looks great. You know, that's what's out there.
Everybody wanted to see. Again, you said the best ability is availability, and when you get a chance to see this guy on the court and perform at a high level, you can't help but react in a positive way about it. But I want to remind people, FanDuel is now live in Maryland. You can get $200 in free bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. You can download the FanDuel app and start making every moment more. Speaking of Kristaps Porzingis, here he is in the post-game locker room.
We want to come up with a win, but it is what it is. This is what you get. You know, it's about the details. It's about the details, and as I said, sooner or later we'll get it. But we have to. Now we have to. With every game, we have to go in with a fresh mind and take it as an opportunity and get better, and we'll get there.
A little bit more of the double big lineup tonight, even a little bit of Taj and Gaff playing alongside each other. What have you guys seen from that sort of strategy continuing to develop?
It's good. It's good. I think sometimes, maybe when we're losing the rebounding battle a bit, the other night when I was with Gaff out there, tonight, like, it makes a difference. Two bigs rebounding there. I feel like, nobody can out-rebound us. Nobody can, shoot over us when we're down there. At least one of us is down there, helping our teammates and stuff. So I like it. It's an adjustment, of course. I have to be more in the perimeter. But yeah, we'll find a way either way. If I'm the lone big, the only five, or it's 4 and 5, me and Gaff, we'll figure out a way how we can be effective.
Kristaps Porzingis, 28 points tonight. Over the last 10 games, though, averaging 24 points, 10 boards, 3 assists. Things moving in the right direction. Can we turn it into a win on Friday against the Pacers? Welcome back to PostGame Live. I want to remind everybody, Saturday, not Sunday, Saturday. And if you didn't remember, Saturday is the Clippers in town. Make sure you get this hat, Capital One Arena. First 10,000 fans in the building get this signature hat, courtesy of Kyle Kuzma. Got to love it right there. Saturday. We'll see you then. Right now, Coach, I need you to take me into the film room. Talking Denny, converting defense to offense. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, Denny Avdia's, look, this is why they drafted him, because he's a two-way player. He's a real two-way player and enjoys playing defense. He's going to get out in the passing lanes, or in that's almost like a pressing situation. He was smart, comes up with the ball, and then takes his time here, just converts the layup in the paint, nothing too crazy, takes his time. This one I like here. This is showing he's really in help. He's got a foot in the paint. This is where his long range, 6'9", big guy. Watch the bench. Watch how happy the bench is for him. Rui and those guys are all up. They love that steal and the finish on the dunk. And that means that's how much respect they have. They knew that was an unbelievable play. Here, he's running from behind and catching the ball. There's a lot of time when you don't have the ball or it's not your man, you won't. He runs back extra fast, now gives it up. Great play. There's Jordan Goodwin showing respect to his old man, throws it out to Gibson for the 3, who buries it.
All right, Coach. So I got a question about it when we come to Denny. I'm looking at here at the first half box score. Now, Denny's assists in the first half, he is at 2, finished with 6, so that's +4 there, had 4 points, and then ends up with 10 points, +4 in the points department. Coach, talk to me about the adjustments that he makes in the second half. Denny's one of these guys, if you have a chance to watch him, and I know you do at home, he really wants to do the right thing. And so it's just a matter of, hey, do this, do that, and then he finally makes adjustments.
Look, he's had to adjust his game. He didn't come from a college system where you worked or you were in a... He was a real bona fide star from Israel, playing in Spain. He's more of a focal point of the offense. We all know he's an all-around player. Can play defense, multi-talented, great size. But he's had to adjust his offensive game to take a little bit of a back seat. And I think sometimes that leads to a little bit of frustration. But I think he's ahead of the curve. He's a very young guy. My friend Bruce Pearl watched him extensively in Israel this summer. They actually played Auburn. Said he was by far his favorite player, and immediately came back and said, had he gone to college for a year or two, not that he should have, how good he would have been. Like, he would have been an All-American. Like, he's like, that guy, if I had him for 2 years, he's Jabari Smith, who's the lottery pick. Well,
True.
Denny's coming around, and he's learning how to fit in, and he's not, look, he got hit on the chin today. He got a little blood on his chin trying to get up into DeRozan, which he's accepted the defensive challenge. He's feisty and competitive, which we want him to stay. His offense is just coming along a little bit, but, you know, there's a pecking order, and Porzingis is playing so well, you have to go to him.
Yeah.
Kuzma, we know, because he was great last year, and Beal's an all-star. He's doing everything right. I think once in a while he gets a little frustrated because he wants some more offense. You said it. He's the man. Oh, you were talking about this before.
Yeah, he's the man overseas.
Overseas, he's the man.
So then my curiosity comes to, tonight he's in the starting lineup. Obviously, when Brad's back, other nights he comes off the bench. How does he find his consistency regardless of where he starts or comes in the game?
You know, just as a younger guy, you have to learn to adjust to situations. You know, that's the toughest thing to teach young players is patience. Hey, it's tough to teach all of us. But some nights we're going to need you to score more, but some nights we don't. And now Gafford's going in there. I think that helps. I think the big helps Denny because it takes a little pressure off the size of having a rebound. You're getting banged around in there, you know. Porzingis is really, really playing well, so we got to adjust to that.
One of the things I think that Denny also succeeds in, transition. He loves to run. In open court, it's something about that just allows him to see the court and, you know, fall back into his natural basketball instincts, which bode well for him. Well, Denny, I'll be a part of this conversation, and the Pacers coming up next. Welcome back to Wizards Post Game Live. Monte Morris, 17 points, 8 assists. He gave you a block and 2 boards. Unfortunately, in a loss, 115-111 is the final score in Chicago. Here he is in the post-game podium.
I mean, we always going to give it our all. We got a very good team, you know. So we just knew if we go out there and compete, shots will fall, you know, but we can't feel sorry for ourselves for being, you know, single-handedly and not having, you know, all the guys, you know. So we just got to, you know, deal with what we got and go out there and compete every night. You know, we expect to win, but we fell short tonight.
One of your better.
Coach, looking forward to the Pacers on Friday night. Again, night one of a back-to-back. You see that the Wizards, last 2 times they played the Pacers, they've split it, averaging around 116 points. How does Washington get a win back in Indy where we won the first time?
Yeah, you go back and say, we won here before. We're going there on Friday night to win again. You know, I'm getting texts from my guys in Baltimore, Eric, and all these fans that, hey, we're going there to get a win. Will Barton's coming around. Things are coming around. The Gafford experiments work. Focus on the positive. Now we got to corral some loose balls at the end, but we're going there with a mindset that we're a better team than them, and we're going to go beat them, especially since we already have.
You know what I'm looking forward to? Shifting the Gafford-Porzingis experiment to the Gafford-Porzingis experience.
I like that.
Anyway, on behalf of our great crew and staff here at NBC Sports Washington, for head coach Jimmy Patsos, Chris Miller, Christy Gwynter-Scott, and Megan McPeak, I am Wes Hall. Enjoy your Wednesday night. We'll be back Friday for Wizards Pacers right here on NBC Sports Washington.